Hey, everybody. So let's get into Candace Owens here. She's, look, I understand. I understand where people are coming from on this perspective. I really do. My main issues with it, of course, are going to be the fact that just like the left, there is no evidence to support what it is that they are claiming. It's a conspiracy theory. It's genuinely annoying to see this getting spread out there. I understand asking questions. This is the position I believe you should be taking is, hey, I want to see the evidence too. But for now, this is the evidence that we have. We shouldn't be deviating that much from it. And that's the whole point. The left is doing the same thing. And then Candace wants to come out and say the left is wrong, but then do the same thing they're doing. Charlie was fighting with some very powerful billionaires that he took money from over things he was discussing. That's great. What were the things he was discussing? And who is he fighting with? How do you know he was fighting with anyone? That's interesting. The pressure on him was immense over the last 2 weeks. The truth will be revealed, the messages will be leaked, and the movement he built will rise up. They better be verified messages. I will gladly look at them. No doubt, I'll gladly look at them. But here's the thing. Why is it that she thinks, because not alluding, because she says it down here, I'll find it later on, but she's clearly alluding that Israel ended Charlie Kirk. And here's the thing. It would be very, very convincing if there was any evidence of it. Candace Owens is the most outspoken person when it comes to Israel. She is very anti-Israel. She works for TPUSA. She does the whole college campus thing, debating people. Why is it that she has not been targeted, but Charlie Kirk was? And for what? Saying, oh, Jewish donors shouldn't be donating to left-wing causes? I don't know. I don't necessarily think that that's very convincing. They obviously know where Charlie Kirk stands. They obviously know he is not for the American left. Or actually just the left wing in general, not even the American left. He's really anti-left wing. So why is it that they was like, oh, well, Jewish people shouldn't be supporting the left wing? And then Israel's like, well, shoot, we support the right wing, we support your cause, but since you called us out for, supporting the left wing too, you got to go? It doesn't really add up. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So if there's evidence that you're withholding, if there's anything you could be putting out there, I suggest you should probably put it out there and not just talk out your rear end. Let's see this guy, the Immortal. For those who like to refer to Charlie Kirk as fascist, just so you know, assassinating people who think differently for you is peak fascism. Absolutely correct. Anybody thinking differently from you and you end them, that is fascist. That's how fascists worked. And these anti-fascist people are actually just straight up fascist. And there's this convicted drug addict. Media treats him as a saint. Talks to college kids. His death is mocked by media outlets. Exactly. So let's see here. They're doing all this, but Charlie Kirk wasn't ended because of what he had to say. He was ended because the young were listening to him. Nobody's really paying attention to what Candace is saying here. But this is the scene right here.
But it goes to the point where, for example, if I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government without backlash than actual Israelis do. It's
been so unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Like, I host a person that I moderate the debate of, mind you, right? And I give equal time to Josh Hammer, equal time to a pro-Israel advocate, and my moral character is being put into question. And so I think it's a hyper paranoid, like, we're just going to try to, we're going to just stamp out everything type of practice.
It's there's some rule you can't go there when it comes to Israel.
Well, you and I believe that we're Americans and Americans first, period. End of story. We are citizens of this nation, okay?
That's right.
Israel, we have funded, we have supported.
I want some more context to this because it sounds like he's arguing with I don't know if he's arguing with the pro-Israel lady or an anti-Israel lady at this point. I don't know who he's talking to at all.
Honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. But
why is that cut there? Why is that cut? Is he talking to her saying that she's calling him? Okay, so I don't know.
Character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go. I mean, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter. Thousands of tweets and text.
Okay, so I don't know if he's talking about.
But it goes to cut there. I have text messages, Megan. Are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I have tweets and text messages.
It's offensive to those of us who have been out there defending them in many instances against critics on our own side. And now you have a couple.
See, that's the problem with these cuts. I don't know who them is. I don't know who he's talking to. I don't know if he was saying because it sounded like he's talking to Megan here, and then it sounded like he was saying you've texted me all this stuff, but I don't think that was the case at all. I think he's talking about other people, but I'm not able to tell because of these cuts. They're like, oh, look at this. This looks convincing, right? But whenever you don't have the full video, I don't know who they is. I don't know who them is. I don't know if he's talking about Palestine, anti-Palestinian people, pro-Palestinian people, or Israel. You know, I have absolutely no clue. These clips like this are useless. That's kind of my point. So he says you got to be careful the way
they're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. I mean, that's and I don't use that term lightly. Okay, they're talking about basically removing 2.55 million people from there. Okay,
his lips are not moving
honestly,
right.
They have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally. After you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets.
Kind of.
I gotta be careful the way I say this.
Why does it look weird? Is this AI? I gotta know. Is this AI? Let's see. How long before? Let's see. Man, why can I not find this video anywhere but here? Even explicitly episode 314. So they're saying episode 314 of Charlie Kirk here. Let's go to it. I'm very curious. I got some time. You guys may have some time. Let's see. Kirk, episode 314. This shouldn't be too difficult to find. Is it 314? It's odd, isn't it? Isn't that like a... Okay. Well, not episode 314 then. Is it on TPUSA? Where's it at? Why can't I find it? It just says episode 314. PBD podcast. Okay. Let's do that then. PBD podcast. Okay. Well, that's not even close to Charlie Kirk's. Okay. So there we go. 314. Why wouldn't she link it? So let's see what he's saying here. Now, I want to see in the transcript where it says ethnically cleanse and all. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. Ethnic. Okay. Now, let's see what he says quite a bit before this. I want to go about a good... yeah, let's go about 30 seconds before.
Sympathetic. Or maybe, Patrick, maybe, they might have gotten a tip. They might have gotten whispers, but no one thought it would be 1,200 Jews dead. That's a potential, right? Because here's the essence of it. The essence is this. This is the closest thing to the Holocaust that any of us have lived through. But the fact is now Bibi and the Israeli hard right government has a mandate. I got to be careful the way I say this. They're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Yep. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click...
What story was it, though?
Our guts are usually right.
So let's see how far it goes.
This one's very weird.
Can I comment on the, when you use the term ethnic cleansing, that will, make the hairs on the back
I'm not
of your head.
accusing them of that.
I'm not. I'm just saying that term. I actually did some research specifically on that because that is a very slippery slope. And if you actually want to talk about what Jews and even Christians should be most fearful of, Muslims as well, is the concept of ethnic cleansing.
So I just want to be very sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
I'm saying that's what they're going to be accused of.
Correct.
But if there are some people in public life in Israel that, Patrick, what did your pilot guy say? I want only Jews in Israel, right? Okay, that is a form of ethnically cleansing because 20% of Israel is Arab. Muslim.
Correct.
20%.
And people don't know that. And I've been to Israel.
This doesn't sound like he was calling out Israel in the way that people are claiming he was calling them out. He's saying they're going to be accused of it. It may be there. It's just one of those things where I'd have to listen to this whole podcast probably. Because it's not enough for me to just dissect this from a minute.
Several times. I was there a few months ago, and I saw the protests.
I'll give it another opportunity, just a little longer.
You don't have to be expert at Israeli politics to understand the divisiveness of politics, especially in America. We understand like Republicans, Democrats, blacks, white, whatever it is. Similar in Israel, there's the liberal faction, mostly based in Tel Aviv, and more the conservative faction in Jerusalem and throughout the country. And obviously, the more orthodox you are, the more you're inclined to be more right-wing thinking.
I'm going to speed this up.
But I think civil war is a little premature, but there is major contention going on there.
The country was at a fissure point. Yeah, right? It was split.
No, just like there was calls for potential civil war. I sort of think that's a little aggressive.
But you would agree it was hot. The country was hot.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No, just like the BLM riots.
Yeah, it was not a time for unity in Israel.
The thing that I think just to think about when you talk about, I'm not saying you're accusing anything, that you just use the term. So the concept of ethnic cleansing is the biggest fear of the Jewish people. Okay? It's the whole reason that Israel was founded, because of the ethnic cleansing that occurred throughout Europe for millennia, right? Obviously culminating with World War II. But there's no doubt
not a millennia.
that Hamas, that Israel could wipe out Gaza at any given point. But they do not want to participate in ethnic cleansing. Now, they would love to annihilate the terrorists. But if you actually talk about what's going around the world today, and this is what Israel needs to kind of take note of.
That's what I was talking about, Patrick. I'm sorry to interrupt.
This is a protest.
In the summer, this every day, there were people in the streets.
I saw this. July of 2023.
The country was separating.
I mean, this is such a hotbed issue right now. But if you talk about ethnic cleansing, look at what's going on in Azerbaijan and Armenia. Pat, something that
110,000 Armenian Christians.
Nobody's talking about that. Yeah. We've seen over the last couple decades.
It doesn't really sound like he's accusing Israel of any necessarily wrongdoing. I think he may have been criticizing Bibi possibly, but it's really, really difficult to tell just from that. I'm going to listen to the whole podcast, I think, whenever I'm out mowing my lawn here in a few. So that'll probably be better. But this is definitely, certainly taken out of context, without a doubt. So there is that. Now, you had strong opinions about people just like you. Let's see this.
Anti-Semitism online. Another question here they asked about.
No, Charlie Kirk did not agree with Candace Owens and her anti. Yeah, no, we know that. We know that. I've seen this. We've all seen that, where he's like, I don't worry about what Candace Owens thinks. I'm not gonna, be upset with her for the way she thinks, but I disagree. Are you serious, Candace? Is everything a giant conspiracy? Yeah, it is interesting that everything is a giant conspiracy. You wake up people in. Okay, that's England. Nothing to do with this. So they're taking this video a bit out of context here. I will give you all the full context probably later on, maybe in the live stream later today. Of course, this guy knows everything. Okay, so they're saying this. I know he says something about a letter.
Israel,
let's see.
And promote all these absurd rumors. Things were said about.
Oh, is this not the letter?
The assault fighting. I hope they don't silence him. I don't think people will give in to these ridiculous.
And it's just the absurdity of it. Some of the internet rumors that somehow Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk
here we go.
murder. And I don't believe it for 1 second, but I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. Israel also changes the orbit of the moon. Israel pushes the sun. I mean, the whole thing is. It's not only insane, I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying this. They just found the perpetrator. They'll get to the bottom of this. But they go, they have no limits. When you hate Jews, when you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say anything and promote all these absurd rumors. And by the way, they're willing to kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing. And you know, over the centuries, in the Middle Ages, things were said.
Let's get to the letter.
We were up to the Holocaust. And people believed it, and every of them all, the Israel consequent.
I don't think he gets to the letter. Apparently, he holds up some sort of letter. I'm not sure what it is. Finally, somebody with some sense. Okay, let's see. Here's Charlie Kirk here.
They have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like, time for you guys to wake up and say no more. Draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
So he's talking about Hollywood elites mostly. But he's pointing out the fact he's trying to tie him in to Israel because they support Israel. And he's like, hey, guys, you know, you guys are not upholding your morality here. Your, you know, just in general moral fabric of what Israel believes. That's what he's doing here. That's what I believe he's doing here. It's a little weird because we've been calling out the Jewish people who have been supporting all this and stuff. It's like, hey, guys, you like Israel, right? You're supporting Israel, yet you support all the anti-Israel people. These are the elites in Hollywood we're specifically talking about. So it's a little weird to be seeing them contradict themselves. But the rest of Israel isn't doing that. The rest of Israel is pretty anti-woke. That's the part that Charlie Kirk has always defended. So I'm a little confused. Now, if more comes out, obviously, I'll be willing to change my mind. I'm willing to come down on, I'll willingly be anti-Israel myself if enough evidence comes out. For sure. I'm not completely I'm not some super duper pro-Israel guy. It's just when people point out the whole Palestinian thing, I go, okay, well, let's go back and look at the history. Oh, here's all the documented history. Seems like these people are making up a lot of stuff when it comes to Palestine being a country in general. You go back and look at the Ottoman Empire and everything along those lines, and you're like, oh, this isn't lining up. And then people are like, well, it's a fake history. Okay, well, then show me the real history. Oh, well, you know, we don't have that. We just believe this, you know, these terrorists. And it's like, oh, that's, you want me to use terrorist propaganda. No thanks. I'm not going to trust Hamas to know the history of Palestine. So, Discord has come out to tell us the feds are lying about Charlie Kirk. Here's the thing. Discord has been insanely left-wing forever. We went and started using, remember when we started using Gilded? And then nobody wanted to go over to Gilded, so everyone stayed on Discord anyway. So Gilded was and Gilded is way better than Discord. Way better in every way, shape, and form. But, you know, people didn't want to use it. So we're all back on Discord now. When has Discord not been left-wing? They monitor right-wing people without monitoring left-wing. That's what's been happening all of the time. Remember all the mass Discord bans back in 2019, 2020, 2021, all during COVID? All the massive Discord bans that were going on. Remember how Count Dankula constantly has to update his Discord every single freaking day to keep from getting permanently banned from Discord? Kind of weird that it's like, oh, well, now let's trust Discord about this when it comes to left-wingers. Yeah. I don't believe it for an instance. And that's not because I'm biased. It's because Discord did this to themselves. They made themselves untrustworthy. But now everybody wants to forget that Discord was insanely hyper left-wing. I don't know about that. I don't trust them in that sense. Now, I'm not going to blindly trust the FBI, but the FBI is a much greater source than Discord themselves. And if the FBI says there's messages, well, I'm going to trust the FBI just a little bit more than Discord because they've burned their reputation that badly with that false information. Not that the FBI hasn't per se, but again, Discord actively suppressed anybody right-wing. And they still do to this day. Right now, the FBI isn't doing that. So, which one am I going to trust a little more? But I'll be neutral. I'll wait for more to come out. You know, Vigil in London for Charlie. That's really nice. This person saying your day will come to Candace Owens, that's pretty messed up. I wouldn't say that to Candace, no matter how much I disagree with her. No show today because I'm feeling deeply... Okay, yeah, that's great. Laura Loomer and her are still fighting, as always. Bibi brought up the letter himself and severely misrepresented the contents of it. We don't know what was even in the letter, so I don't know about that. I'm calling on him to publish the entire thing. For some reason, that seems to have sent you into an emotional spiral because you lie like him. I see you for exactly what you are. I'm sure you think so. Then she says down here, the man literally booked himself on an American primetime show and held up a letter to represent it as a love letter to Israel. He did that intentionally. It was naked, deception, and propaganda. Let the world hear Charlie in his own words. Well, let's see the letter. Let's call for the letter and see, you know? She said, yeah, I'm sure the adults like your buddy Ian Carroll's show, who hosted your show while you had a baby, will get to the bottom of his insane claim that Israel ended Charlie Kirk. Well, look at what Ian Carroll has said here multiple times, you know? He has said that he has tried pinning it on the right wing in general, and he's just wrong. So, let's see, what did he say? So what kind of activist apparently gets two guys that look like this to run distractions on the ground? I don't know. Anyway, it was a really, really weird situation. I'm not getting into that right now. This is all about Candace. This is insanity, and it's so embarrassing that people like you are both entertaining this. Netanyahu talked about the letter as a sign of respect to Charlie. Would it kill you to not make one thing about the Jews in Israel for just one day? I mean, it is a little tiresome that every single thing she covers is just the Jews in Israel. You know, when I'm wanting to focus on America in general, and I see these people just bickering about, like, other countries way across the pond. It is really annoying. But I want proof, you know? And so far, it's like, this is just so silly. So Tyler Robinson was communicating with someone on Discord prior to the incident on Charlie Kirk. This means there were others involved. There's a conspiracy. Maybe. I mean, they could just be his Antifa buddies, you know? The guy in the crowd that was cheering back at the camera with the long hair, did he look like a Jew? Did the trans roommate look like a Jew? See what I'm saying? It's just not, it's not enough. We know of like 2 or 3 people that he may have been in contact with. It's not exactly like very government connected, you know? So I don't know. Candace is spreading all this right now. She has absolutely zero evidence, just nuance. And that's what irritates me the most. It's divisive for being divisive. Just for the sake of being divisive. It's no different to me than what the left is doing right now by saying, oh, well, his parents were Republicans, so therefore that's all the evidence we need. Whenever you can literally go right here and see that he absolutely never donated whatsoever, and his voter registration is unaffiliated. So he never donated. He would have been 16 at the time that this Tyler Robinson, who was a 30-year-old man, would have donated. And, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. The left has absolutely no evidence. We have more evidence than any of them that he was left-wing. And yet, they're jumping to these conclusions because they're in denial. At least get evidence first and then bring it forward, and then maybe we could discuss it. But the left is beyond discussing anything. I'm done discussing anything with the left. They're gone. They're done. They're so far gone. Now it's trying to keep discussion with the anti-Israel people who are super obsessed with Israel and Palestine. Jeez, if I could speak today. Those are the next people. And I hope to God they don't start trying to stop communication and get violent. So now it's just like, hey, guys, let's keep communication going between you all. And let's try to be sane. Let's get evidence first. They're showing a lot of the same tendencies that the left is showing. That's not good. Candace, I'm asking you to be sane. If you have evidence, bring it forward. If you don't, I don't know, maybe shut up. Probably a good idea to shut up. If you don't have the evidence for it, you're just fanning flames that we don't even know are real or not. And you're going to burn everything down for no reason other than your ideology. Maybe let's not do that. probably would be the most sane thing to do. Thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'll be live here at about 3 o'clock, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.